Vehemence, paragon and grandiloquent are the words I talk about in this video. I'll tell you what they mean, how to use them in sentences, and also quote some writers who have used the words. All this and more coming up. Do keep watching. But first, if you haven't already, do subscribe to The English Nut on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook and X. Thank you. This is the favorite word of my viewer Arhan Hassan 8972. Vehemence. It is the quality of being vehement. It is the forceful expression of strong feelings. It is intensity, fervor, or fury. We can describe passionate speeches as having vehemence. Vehemence can be expressed in speech, writing, or actions. Vehemence is a noun while vehement is an adjective. Here's how you can use vehemence in a sentence. He denied his involvement in the mischief with such vehemence that they believed him. She pursued the social upliftment of her people with vehemence. I was taken aback by the vehemence of their hatred. She was astonished by the vehemence with which he said no. Here's how you can use the word vehement. There were vehement condemnations of the terrorist act by world leaders. Her decision to send them to boarding school met with vehement resistance. Here's a quote from the Washington Examiner containing the word vehemence. Vengeance means fighting back with vehemence. And now for a quote from Ishan Tharoor, foreign affairs columnist at the Washington Post. In case you're wondering about the surname, Ishan Tharoor is the son of Shashi Tharoor. He wrote, "The vehemence of this rhetoric, many critics suggest, has more to do with summoning anti-Semitic canards than any actual political critique." If you're having trouble understanding this quote, let me give you the meanings of some of the words. Rhetoric means speech or writing intended to influence people. It also suggests clever language that sounds good but is not sincere. Anti-Semitic means anti-Jewish. Canard means a false story or report. Critique means analysis. Here's a quote from American philosopher Eric Hoffer, which contains the word vehement. We are least open to precise knowledge concerning the things we are most vehement about. And here are a few lines from a poem called For What Binds Us by Jane Hirshfield. And see how the flesh grows back across a wound with a great vehemence, more strong than the simple, untested surface before. There's a name for it on horses when it comes back darker and raised. Proud flesh. This is the favorite word of my viewer, Mr. Fanidhar89. Paragon. It means someone or something that is thought of as the perfect example of a certain quality. Someone or something regarded as a model of excellence. Shining example and epitome have similar meanings. Here's how you could use the word paragon in sentences. He's a paragon of honesty. How dare you accuse him of stealing? We've stopped expecting candidates to be paragons of virtue. This school is a paragon of excellence. German writer and critic Johann Ludwig Tieck said, "He who considers himself a paragon of wisdom is sure to commit some superlatively stupid act." Voltaire, the French philosopher and author, wrote in his satirical novel Candide, "He was my equal in beauty, a paragon of grace and charm, sparkling with wit and burning with love. I adored him to distraction, to the point of idolatry. I loved him as one can never love twice." Duff Goldman, American pastry chef and cookbook author, said, "I'm not on a mission. I'm not a paragon of health for anybody. I'm not going to run a marathon or go on a bike ride with Lance Armstrong. I'm not. Trust me." Here's a curious quote from the novel Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. He stares at me and then leans back in his chair. "He's ill, Jacob." I say nothing. "He's a paragon schnizophonic." "He's what?" "Paragon schnizophonic," repeats Uncle Al. "You mean paranoid schizophrenic?" "Sure, whatever. But the bottom line is he's mad as a hatter." The character Uncle Al means to say paranoid schizophrenic, which refers to someone with a certain mental health issue, but he gets his words mixed up and says paragon schnizophonic instead. There's actually no such word as schnizophonic. This is the favorite word of my viewer Sachin Gal, grandiloquent. It means expressing things in a lofty style in order to impress. It is about doing things to the point of being pompous or bombastic. It is about using complicated language so as to attract admiration or attention. Grandiloquent language or behavior is excessively formal, literary, or exaggerated. It's used by people when they want to come across as important. Here's how you can use grandiloquent in a sentence. His grandiloquent speech did not succeed in concealing his lack of ideas. The minister waxed grandiloquent about the way his party would bring prosperity to the country. Annoyed by the grandiloquent style of the news anchor, she switched channels. Her ambitions appeared too grandiloquent to be fulfilled. Milton was a writer of grandiloquent poetry. And now for some quotes. English writer Augustus Hare wrote, "Many are ambitious of saying grand things, that is, of being grandiloquent." American comedian and writer W.C. Fields said, among his recognizable trademarks were his raspy drawl and grandiloquent vocabulary. Wolfram Eberhard, who was a professor of sociology at the University of California, Berkeley, wrote in his book, A History of China, these praises were in the form of grandiloquent, overloaded poetry full of strange similes and allusions, but with little real feeling. The following is a quote from a Graham's magazine issue published in 1848. Langley was on his knees before the coquettish Mary, making love in his most grandiloquent style. Vehemence, paragon, and grandiloquent are the words I dealt with in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm the English Nut. Bye for now.